there is a dark cloud approaching over us, brought by the immense environmental pressures that we are causing to our planet. But solutions might be around the corner, and one of them is the circular economy, a system where waste is minimized to the maximum extent throughout the whole supply chain. And this is achieved not only by reducing, reusing, and recycling, but also by durable design, repairing, and refurbishing.
Our first question was, where does our organization Eurochamber stand on the issue? And we understood that to back future policy recommendations or any actions, we needed some kind of comprehensive study on the topic and then a wide internal debate to back up our future activities. Valerio here, my colleague, spent quite a few weeks on screening a lot of studies and analysis and reports that were already out there to see what was useful, because we explicitly wanted only quantitatively well-grounded data in order to come up with a sort of cost-benefit analysis. And well, in the end we did it. So after a few months of intense work, we had a relatively comprehensive quantitative analysis of 9 industrial sectors in Europe, cited with 9 case studies that were based on interviews with companies, and we shared that with more than 15 other organizations to have a wide debate. So what are the sectors? Well, automotive and mobility, as you can see, textiles, but also agriculture, construction, plastics, electronics and electric equipment, but also food and beverage, metal manufacturing, and the gastronomy and the hotel sector, and only where we had quantifiable data available. So as you can see, it was not only big companies such as Arubis, which is one of the biggest copper producers in Europe, or in the world actually, but also very small and innovative ones such as IM Echo, that's a circular computer produced in Ireland, or XYT, a mobility company.
So we looked at the fashion industry, which, as you can see, it's still a very linear, runs still on a very linear model. In fact, only 1% of the garments nowadays are in a cycle loop, and over 70% are landfilled and incinerated. So we identified 3 main solutions. The first one is upcycling and recycling of fibers. Development of new types and sustainable types of fibers, such as algae, mushrooms, or hemp. And the third is disrupting the buy-use throw model by, for example, leasing or the second-hand market. So we interviewed Recover, which is a company based in Spain, which makes yarns out of recycled materials. And they suggested us that the pricing model of yarns currently is not adapted to the circular economy. And we also looked at the construction sector, which in the EU would become circular only if we develop modular buildings from renewable and recyclable materials, and if we create proper waste recovery plants for, of course, the products coming out of this assembly. So we interviewed, in this case, BNP Paribas, which is actually constructing a building right across this Gare Centrale. And the building is circular, of course, and it's supposed to become the new cluster for all Brussels employees. And we came up with 3 main conclusions out of the interviews. And, well, first one is disassembling old building is oftentimes a very difficult task. Using recycled materials from demolished buildings represents a huge business opportunity. However, the recycling industry is still too fragmented for an effect loop of materials. So instead for the automotive industry, ownership will have to give way to shared and electric vehicles. And Lego cars made of easily replaceable and repairable parts will introduce the concept of modularity. On the other hand, we see durability and high-value materials becoming part of the solution. But however, we need something like 35 billion euros investment in the next 15 years to achieve this goal. Maybe you can start from the next. Yeah, I know.
Oh, you're ready. Ready? Okay. Well, you're too fast.
Yeah, I know.
You're being nervous here. Well, I only start with the next slide. So step number 2 in the whole process was to meet experts and other stakeholders. That means other organizations, such as sectorial organizations in the sector that we've interviewed, and business organizations, but also from the financial sector and think tanks, in order to generate the knowledge that we need to elaborate our own recommendations. Well, you might be thinking, what are the recommendations? Well, we finished the report now, so we are in the iteration process of elaboration of these recommendations, but there are some preliminary results that often came up during the interviews. For example, the access to finance for small and medium-sized companies, but also potential dangers of digitalization. The next step is, of course, communication. So next week on the 5th of February, we have an event at the EU Industry Days where we're going to present the report and have 2 innovative companies on the stage to talk about their B2B solutions in circular economy, and 1 project of a Chamber of Commerce in France. And finally, it's also about using the whole network of regional and local chambers of commerce within Europe to develop new services for their members, which are mainly small and medium-sized companies, with regards to the circular economy. That could be, for example, in e-tracking of materials, or the like. Thank you very much.